Sanam. Hello, this is Ram Krishan Singh. Good morning. And today I feel to share. This is an exploration here. So I feel that there's a lot of people offering a lot of things online, streaming videos, teaching, all of this. And then when I see all that, I consider myself and I say, well, what do I really have to share with people? Because there's so much out there already and experts in this and that, and it's really, to me, sometimes it's challenging to say, okay, well, I'm going to offer XYZ, because really my way is just show up and see what there is. And especially my specialty is more being with people and being able to like speak to what people are going through and what a process is, rather than to just speak to a camera. However, I'm playing with the idea of just developing more of a curriculum for a cultural detox and then just sharing piece by piece that whole curriculum. But this is my process of how to best help or contribute in this time and to share. So do I share a curriculum that's sort of like fixed information, but it's still flowing and dynamic and intuitive, whatever's available to share in the moment, that's what gets shared? Or do I just show up and share randomly? Is that effective? Are people getting something out of that? That's that's my that's where I'm at right now, because again, there's so many different offerings online. It's this question mark of, well, this is just another offering. Is is this of value? Are people wanting to tune into this? And then, you know, and then my heart just yearns to retreat to the jungle, really. During all of these times, it's like, okay, what do I have to offer? Well, really, the thing that I know that's the most fulfilling and alive is living in a very simple way. And the most simple I've ever lived was in the jungle when I was there. And by myself for a period of time, I was super, super, super simple. It was wonderful. Cooking with firewood, uh, walking around barefoot. It was just like nothing to do, just allow life to be bliss, expansive, and creative, and just like an open canvas for whatever freedom we wish to create from. But yeah, there's a process to get to that place of freedom, because planet Earth is a paradise, but we go to the jungle and we get there and we're full of neuroses. We're full of all of these conditionings that keep us like locked in a box of our own personality and our own preferences and our own inclinations to act and to move and to do things. And we can't even be present with the beauty and the perfection of life and find peace just right in this moment and just be, this is amazing, this is wonderful. It's a process. And it's not a process of doing anything to become something or get away from that discomfort. It's really a process of allowing all of that stuff to come up and out, essentially. To go through a process of tuning in to our deepest, most essential truth of our identity, and allowing all the things that are not to just come up, out, dissolve, whatever form the process takes, and it's unique for everybody. It's a process of going through this, allowing all the conditioning to play itself out and not continue to reinforce it. And within a culture such as the Western culture, we continually reinforce that conditioning, not intentionally, but just by the way that life is and the way that we've developed a way of being It's our unique way that allows us to, quote, survive in the world. But in a sense, it creates a shell of an identity that works to be able to live in this way. It can be really painful because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a healthy, living, breathing identity. It can be a very protected sense of a self that is guarded in many defense mechanisms and many habits to just sort of get by and avoid feeling what's deeper. And that's what the cultural detox process is. It's the feeling what's deeper. It's getting in touch with what is. It's allowing that to be seen, to be felt, to be embraced. And in that process, it ultimately dissolves. And that's not even important. The process essentially is just making peace with what is, to allow ourselves to really be at peace. And again, the most effective form that I've seen it take is when people go get out of the culture and experience what life is without technology, without electricity, without any sort of distractions or entertainment. Sure, the mind tries to create distractions and entertainment everywhere, and it's just natural. But that mechanism plays itself out because there's nothing to reinforce it, and there's nothing to keep it going. The sense of a self, this ego that tries to perpetuate itself, might try to keep those habits as best as it can. It's like hold on to these things and it's trying to keep itself together, but ultimately it falls apart. And what's left when it falls apart is just peace. It's just nature. It's just truth. It's just this emptiness or this stillness that exists before there was any of that conditioning. And that exists even now with the conditioning. But it's the silence, and the conditioning is noise. So it can be challenging to perceive that silence and to enjoy that silence when there's all the commotion. And especially the physical body. This is why the cultural detox is rooted in the physical. The physical body is, if it's out of order, it's like squeaking and creaking and making all of these complaints in the forms of pain and discomfort. Those are all messages for us to pay attention to tune into, to address, to align, to harmonize, so that we can come into a state of a harmonious embodiment of stillness. So that truth of harmoniously embodying that essential nature of peace is health. So physical health is the first step in realizing our true nature embodied in form. So beyond physical health, there are different behaviors that or lifestyle choices, and just the way that we act out that same peace is in a harmonious form in the world creates a sense of happiness, because it's the next step of embodying that same essential nature of peace in a harmonious lifestyle, and that brings happiness, and that's the next step. So cultural detox is called cultural detox, where you're eliminating all of the conditioning, and then wholeness education, which is where we're learning these new behaviors that are harmonious with nature and life to embody a pure extension of that harmony, so that there's just this sense of pure flow. And beyond that, when we feel connected to everything, when there's a state of happiness, it really allows us to feel more of an ability to connect with our environments and others in a healthy way. And that creates a sense of wholeness when we're able to embody a sense of sovereignty and relate to whatever things or environments or situations from that sovereignty, and at the same time recognize ourselves as connected intimately, and there's no separation, and allowing our hearts to be open as wide as the earth, as wide as the universe, without end, so that there's this true sense of embracing all things and all creation, and that gives us a sense of wholeness. It's both a sovereignty inside of ourselves and a wholeness in terms of one with all of life. And it's really the same thing, because unless we feel at peace with all of life, we still that all of life is just a reflection of ourselves. And if there's something that's fighting against a part of ourselves, there's a duality. There's something that's fighting against something else. There's two. There's a duality there. And we can really find peace with all that is outside. We're also finding a wholeness inside, and vice versa. When we can experience ourselves as truly whole in who we are, nothing out of place, completely perfect, then we also realize that everything outside ourselves is ourself as well, and we can find peace with that as well. There's no sort of conflict, and we become a pure extension of this stillness. This is what cultural detox is about. Cultural detox and wholeness education. It's a science. It applies technologies from many different traditions, but at the same time, it's just a science. It's a science of being, and we call that one truth. There's one truth. It's a universal science of being, and life is spiritual. Every aspect of life is spiritual, meaning there's no separation, there's no practice on the mat or on your cushion or from your regular life. Your everyday life will present us with every opportunity to grow, to evolve, to develop, and to continue to cultivate more and more awareness and consciousness and appreciation of the moment, seeing the perfection in everything. That's the spiritual practice. So what this whole cultural detox process is about is deconditioning from the borders and the barriers that the mind creates in our life, to allow ourselves to experience that all of life is sacred, all of life is the divine, every dimension and every angle and everywhere that we can see and experience is an opportunity to develop that relationship with the oneness of that I believe we're all seeking, that sense of wholeness that I believe that we're all seeking. Every opportunity allows us to cultivate a greater sense of wholeness, a greater sense of sovereignty. So cultural detox, I believe, is for the Aquarian age, moving into this next era where we're breaking down the barriers of the ideas of religion and science and all of this. It's all really science of spirituality is life. And that's what the cultural detox process is starting those who are interested in going deeper and pioneering this path. The living in the jungle, when we were there, it's the intention of our community is to explore the most harmonious way of life so that our presence serves all of life, and we're actually living so that all of life can thrive. We're not just living for ourselves to survive, we're living so that all of life is uplifted by our presence, and that our presence is meaningful, purposeful, serviceful. We were watching a fairy movie with my daughter, and it was reminding me of like more about humanity's purpose here on the planet. Because the fairies were taking care of the animals and like sending them across into the winter zone, and they would care for the animals and preparing for winter and helping the plants open, and just like they were taking care of nature essentially, being an intimate part of life's cycles and being a conscious part to help life find fullest expression. And in the same way, humanity has the potential of waking up to full consciousness as life itself, that essential nature of who we are, waking up and embodying that and realizing that, actualizing that, and then serving all of life. And ultimately, this is what I see for humanity, waking up to our own nature, finding harmonious ways of embodying that on the planet that creates no harm, instead it creates complete service to all of life, and then finding our place in the universe, because we have the potential to be more than just planetary beings. We can first realize the goodness of who we are, understand how to embody that, and then serve in greater capacities in the universe as well, nurturing life from other planets or whatever capacity. But first, we have a long way to go. First, it begins with ourselves as individuals, then as communities and groups, learning how to live together, learning how to process the negative emotions and the densities that have accumulated, and the behaviors and the patterns, and navigate all that, and to dissolve it back into the essence of love, to remember ourselves as whole, integral beings on this planet, and then learning how to do it as a species, then learning how to live in harmony with all of life on the planet. There's a long ways to go, but this is just in a nutshell. So thank you for being with me today as I've explored that verbally. That's really what I want to flesh out, that process, and I can deliver curriculum on that and talk more on those themes. And so that's my life mission, my life work is cultural detox. And I'm grateful to be able to share with you today, and to reconnect with that mission and vision. So thanks for joining. Again, as always, questions, comments, feedback is welcome. Thank you. Sat